Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Paola. I'm the host of the Catholic Homeschool Community, and today, Jen Bales, who is going to be your host here and telling us how to do in-person events, because she's got experience in doing this, but also it's a way for us to be able to share with you some of the practices she had. We'll talk about the guide that we have put together. So, hey, hi, Jen.
Hello, thanks for having me, Paula. I'm excited to share.
Yeah, good. So also tell us, I mean, you are the owner and you run Bloom Mentoring, which is coaching for Catholic homeschool families. So I just want to make sure people know that. And the best place to reach you if they have messages would be your Facebook group, Heart of a Mother.
Probably.
Homeschool mom.
Yes, Heart of a Mother.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, so where do we begin? What's the first thing we have to ask ourselves if we decide, I want to do this Catholic Homeschool Conference, the 2022 Catholic Homeschool Conference, either with my support group that I already have a well-established one, or just one that I want to start, or maybe even just a few friends. Is that even possible? What do you think?
Yes, absolutely. I think so. The conference has been online these past 2 years and it'll continue to be online this year, but we all just long for connection and in-person community. So we really have kind of thought through some ways that we could help parents, moms especially, but parents in general do that and try to kind of gather together for maybe a watch party or a hybrid conference, small or big, but just get together and watch the online conference. And then they could have discussions about it and just socialize. And like you said, either an existing group or maybe a new group of small or big would form based on just developing that community and getting together, having a good excuse for a party, right?
Exactly. And I mean, I think what Jen and I would really love to encourage is the fact that even if you're longing for it yourself, it all begins with invitation. And sometimes it's just as simple as, let's invite a few friends over to my house and let's just do this for the first time. And I think that once you do that, you guys are not going to want to stop getting together. Is that right?
Yes, I'm sure that'll be the case in many places. We have a bunch of different kind of groups out here. And last year I did invite some people to my house, some moms, to watch some of the talks. And we just had a really nice time. It was a set aside time to make sure we actually participated in those talks because we scheduled it and got away from all the obligations of home. But also it was just a really nice way to connect and see people face to face and kind of start to build relationships with new faces too.
Right. And you did bring up something that I think is important, and that is that whole part of just, we do need to bring in some new faces. So if you do see maybe a family in your parish or somebody introduces, do welcome them in, because I know there's tons of people that are curious or on the fence about homeschooling, and just being able to extend that welcome is going to make a big difference in their lives.
It's key. And I think it's very easy too, with the setup of the Catholic Homeschool Conference, and especially with the way it's being set up this year, that it'll be a very smooth experience for people to watch it as a group if they want to. A small, like I said, small group, a large group, but I think that that's really feasible. And, we've talked about how important it is, but I just think, like you said, reaching out to whoever might be interested, people people you don't know that well, it can be a beautiful thing, if kind of put yourself out there and see what the interest is.
Right. So let's talk about some of the practical steps for that. Where would people, and so we do, God bless you, Jen, because you put together a beautiful guide, and we will have that link, somewhere under this video. You will see the link. It's just a PDF. So you don't have to worry about taking notes, which reminds me, that was one of the other really great points you made too. Intentional. We don't give ourselves permission to do real learning or planning for a school year, and we'll fit that in somehow into everything else. And I think that's one of the things you said is you actually, with your friends, what did you do? You actually planned.
Yes, we set, it's on the calendar. I'm going to spend this time doing this. And We think about it. Teachers do professional development days all the time. They have their in-service days where they are required to go to a training, right? And we need that too as homeschool moms, because otherwise it's busy. And I think even though in-person homeschool conferences that still exist around the country are super important, I think that this opportunity for just watching the talks and kind of talking with your local community will streamline for a lot of people that that maybe feel overwhelmed when they go to big conferences or small conferences in person, because there's so many books to look at, or there's so many.
And the logistics alone, in the good old days, because I am that old, it was a huge undertaking. I had a brother and sister-in-law, God love them. They volunteered to watch some of my children so I could take like the nursing baby with me. But it was a huge sacrifice on everybody's part in the family to be able to carve out that time, and the expenses of traveling. And some years we just didn't make it because there weren't any funds, or there wasn't anybody to be able to babysit the children and be able to make that time available. So you're right, Jen. We need each other, but sometimes this kind of technology is making it possible for us to get together, and even in a small local way.
Right. And you mentioned the guide that we'll link. And we put together the guide as a step-by-step method to help moms think through, or parents. Dads can be totally included. There's talks for the dads. I just always say moms because that's who comes most of the time.
Yes.
But we put together this step-by-step guide to give you different ideas of how you could do it, how you could, keep it super simple, if you wanted to host a bigger group, how you could do that. If you have an existing group, like you said, how you can kind of make sure you have enough thought out to make that effective and enjoyable. And it's the online conference runs live for basically a day and a half. So It's that Friday afternoon and all day Saturday, but you don't even have to set aside all of that time if you can't. Our local group is just doing all day Saturday, because Friday is a little tricky with dads working and things like that. So you could just do Friday evening, or you could just do, a little chunk of the time. And I bet it would be completely wonderful and meaningful, regardless of what you can set aside.
So to be able to plan this, I always like to do a show and tell. So I'm going to ask you, Jen, to give us a little show and tell on how are you actually going to do that with your group? You mentioned you guys are only going to meet on Saturday. So walk us through some of the steps your local group took.
Right. So we have gatherings periodically throughout the year here in lots of different areas. So I kind of had to guess on how many people might come to this particular event. And we're marketing it here as a hybrid conference, because I know hybrid is the word that everybody likes now. But it really is that. It's part in person and part online. And so we're going to gather. I rented a community room in one of the nearby towns that also has lots of really great restaurants nearby, and for some fun time. But we reserved the room for the whole day. And we are going to encourage parents to sign up to come that day, whatever time they can. But we are actually going to run from about 8 a.m. till 6 p.m. so that we can have available all of the live presentations that the conference is providing online. Except because we're not meeting Friday, we're going to watch those recordings Saturday morning, because where the time zone we are, there's a 3-hour delay until the live stuff starts on Saturday, which is perfect.
Yeah.
Because then we can go ahead and watch the recordings, as the conference committee said that they're going to get those recordings up right away for our access, which is fabulous. Thank you. Yeah. So that's our plan, is we're going to just spend the day together. We're going to watch the live presentations together. And when the online conference is going into their little breakout sessions and their networking, we'll do our own in-person discussions, whether it's small groups or one-on-one. We're also bringing curriculum, like our favorite curriculum, so we can pass it around and get our hands on some of those really good books that you don't get to see unless the vendors are there. So I think it's going to be a good day. We're excited about doing it. Like I said, last year it was just me in my living room with a bunch of friends who brought snacks, which was perfect. Right. But we thought we ramp it up a little this year.
Exactly. And so that, you had some experience, and maybe you felt that a little bit more confident to be able to pull that off. And I know, Jen, you have run in-person conferences in Texas before, so you're not a newbie at this.
Yes.
But I love the idea that if you are new, you could just do it in your living room, bring snacks. So you talked a little bit about something, and this is something new that's happening at this conference. For years, I know for myself, I wanted just that practical workshop. I wanted to be able to actually go somewhere and come out of it with something concrete that I've done. And this year, there's a few workshops that people will get to choose, right? And be able to actually, they're going to go into breakout sessions and actually come through, right?
Yes. I believe there's two workshop sessions where you get to choose from 3 different presenters.
Right.
And so
that's on Saturday.
On Saturday afternoon, yes. Yeah. So what we're going to do as a larger group, depending on how big we are, is we're going to decide earlier in the day, kind of by vote, basically, if we want to all watch one workshop together and go through that experience, or if we want to kind of split up into 2 or 3 groups. We're going to have a big screen. Here's the easy thing. You're like, how do I do this? You can plug a laptop into almost any TV with an HDMI cord, and then you have a big screen. Right. So we're going to have that for the talks we watch together, but we're going to bring additional just laptops, and kind of if we want to split up into groups and they want to watch simultaneous workshops, we can do that as well. In the hall we're going to go to the 4 corners or 3 corners and do it that way.
Right.
But yeah. I'm excited about that because since we will all be together, and I'm kind of hoping we want to watch some of the different ones, because then we could come back together as a large group and kind of say, hey, this is what I heard that was awesome, and this is what I heard that was awesome. And maybe, one of the things this year with the conference is that you get all of the recordings, you get access for a full year. Mm-hmm. So then if you didn't get to watch a workshop, you can, and someone says something amazing about it, which they'll all be wonderful, you can watch it later. It can be like kind of a little advertisement for that and to make you set aside time. So yeah, those workshops will be really neat because we'll have that opportunity to kind of choose what you need in that moment as a homeschool parent, right? The type of practical help you need.
Meeting your need right as you need it, exactly. But building into it in the sense that we're all coming to it at different stages. So there is a little something for everybody. So definitely. There will be what's called the main stage. And I think that's what you were alluding to before, the big keynotes. And I'm very excited. I'm going to be in one of those, which is a mom panel. I'll be speaking with, I'll be there with Jen McIntosh and Danielle Bean, and we all had, our 20 years homeschooling experience, and we're just happy to be able to field questions about homeschooling. And so that will be a lot of fun. There'll also be some time for everybody to go to the exhibitor booths. How is your group going to actually experience that?
Right. So what we're doing is we're encouraging moms to bring their own devices, whatever device they feel they want to bring. And we're going to have some times throughout the day that are break times, but they're for the moms to either go online and look at the expo hall, or walk around and pick up the curriculum that our favorite curriculum that we bring, or if they just want to chat, whatever their needs are, right?
Right.
We unfortunately don't have included Wi-Fi in our room, so it is something to make sure to let people know. So I had to tell our moms that if you have a hotspot or you have a device that has data, and you want to bring that to use that, or we can share, amongst those of us who are there. So we do have time set aside in the schedule for some of that exploring the expo hall. And I know there's a couple of the vendors are going to be live and available in the hall. So we want to make sure that we set aside time for that.
Yes, exactly. I know. So I'll be one of those, because I will be talking about the Catholic homeschool community. And that's going to be that, after the conference, the community, I hope people will join us there. But I want people to also know that they can go see the exhibitors. And as you said, your guys are meeting just on Friday. When they register for the conference, they will have access on Friday. You're meeting Saturday. So Friday, they can actually take some time and go into the exhibitor area as well. Right. I also believe that the team, you correct me if I'm wrong, from what I remember, is on Thursday, people get to register, check in, and they're actually, some of the exhibitor booths will be available. And when that means, it's like, they'll have some preset videos that you can watch. So again, getting a breadth of some of the materials and some of the sponsors that are going to be at the conference, right?
Definitely. Yes, that'll be great. Everybody will be able to log in on Thursday and kind of test the waters and see. It is a new platform that they've chosen so that it can be more interactive and more connect parents more. And so it'll be great to have that early access to go in and test your technology if you're doing a group thing.
Yes.
But you make a really good point too. There are, in addition to the live presentations and workshops that are on that weekend, there'll be recorded talks.
Right. And
as I said, you'll have those recorded talks for a year. So one of the other things I'm going to try to encourage our group to do is after the live conference that we do on Saturday is maybe to get together over the summer a few times and watch some of those recorded talks together. The people that have already attended the live in-person hybrid, so they've registered, they have their access, and we can get together again to watch the recorded stuff and discuss that, because I know everybody's a little bit different, but I process when I talk about things. And so that really helps
and that's beautiful, because it's like that expression, drinking from a fire hose. And very often we need to be able to digest things for a while and ponder them, and be able to share our thoughts with other people. I know I always learn so much if I'm just being able to watch something with another mom, and she will take it from a different experience and be able to expand on how much knowledge we can get from this by doing things together.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a great opportunity.
Yeah, sounds fabulous. Great. So one other little perk, and we do have to clarify that I know that Walter Maureen have generously made the group tickets, in the sense that if you are attending a group function, which is 5 or more people, that you will be able to register using a special group link, and you can save $10 from the price for going to the conference, right?
Right. They really wanted to do that because, for example, we had to rent a hall because of the number of people we have. And I'm asking those parents who attend to reimburse for the cost of the hall. So they're paying, a little bit. Pardon?
Register for your, how are you gonna know who's gonna show up at your event, Jen?
So I'm using a Google form, and there's actually a link in the guide that the PDF guide that you mentioned. There's a link in there of a sample form that people could see what it looks like. I really like Google Forms because they're very clean and simple, easy to use, and then they download everything into a spreadsheet so I can just look at it automatically. So I'm just using that to track the local registrations so that I know how many people are coming and if we're going to cover costs and that kind of thing. So yeah, but that is one thing we are going to pass on that cost to the people coming here, and it's not a lot and they're fine with it. But you may be able to get a classroom at a parish, or a hall at your parish if your homeschool group regularly meets somewhere anyway. This would just be, an opportunity to say, hey, could we have the room for this other date? And that might be an opportunity for some established groups as well.
And you can think of this also as kind of like the practice session, that if you want to start having events throughout the year, especially maybe something in the summer or something in the fall or periodically, this is like a little testing ground of doing this, a good excuse to get started.
Right, definitely.
Good. Well, I want to thank you for all those tips. Thank you again for the amazing job on the guide. There will also be the link. You can reach me through the community directly, CatholicHomeschoolCommunity.com. We will try to keep a listing, and it's really just going to be our first year. I know that there's going to be a lot of bumps in the road, but those who are hosting, please do just add a comment to the post that says local homeschool conference gatherings. We'll have a post. I'll keep it and pinned to the top of the activity feed in the main one. And when people can add to it, I'll see if we can find, if it gets to be too long, we'll work on putting it in a more manageable list. But I know Jen will be putting in your location. You will be having yours. And where will it be? Just so that we're going
to be in Grapevine, Texas, which is between Dallas and Fort Worth.
Yes.
And it's just open to whoever wants to come. I have a friend coming from Austin because needs an excuse to come see me. But
That's so great.
I think that having that list will be really helpful because there are a lot of homeschoolers who feel isolated and don't know people. And
Yeah.
if they see a city that's near them on that list, maybe
Might
they
be
can
worth
reach out
the
and
drive.
make connections. Yeah.
Exactly.
Whether it's near or far. Yeah.
Wonderful.
So,
We will also, and people, if they direct message us, we'll be able to give them the link to be able to get those group tickets for
Right.
all the people in their hybrid groups. All right.
yes,
Well,
definitely.
anything else, Jen, you think we missed?
I don't think so. I will just say that the guide will be a great place to start to kind of read through it and see if this is something that you might want to do. Like I said, on a small scale or a larger scale, there's ideas in there about, how to feed everybody, and there's sample schedule, options of things you could do during the time. But if you have questions or you're just really not sure, reach out to one of us. I'm more than happy to do a chat with someone who's thinking about hosting a group and just kind of help you talk through things, because we do want to encourage, moms who feel like, parents who feel like this is, something they might want to do, to consider it, because in person is important. We all know that. And just because this is an online conference doesn't mean it's less, right, than an in-person. So we can kind of get the best of both worlds, I think by encouraging people to get together.
Yep, beautiful. We do have people that may be doing this also internationally. And that is really where, again, we want to encourage that as well. Now, where you may not be able to make the time for the live talks, as Jen said, everything is recorded. There will be the recorded talks and everything's recorded. And actually, in certain parts of the world, you'll be able to meet earlier and get maybe to the vendor area earlier than people in the United States. So.
Right.
All right.
That's a great point.
Yeah. Good. And I think we pretty much touched it all. And
So.
look forward to the comments. And right, Jen, we'll be in touch. And
Yes.
if you have any questions, meet us in the community.
We'll be there.
All right. Thanks again.
Thank you,
so
Paola.
God bless you abundantly, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.